No, it isn't a dream. It's real. We're here and we're in love.
We're in love.
We've fallen in love the way it's supposed to happen. At first sight.
Yes. At first sight.
I love you, Emma.
I love you, Thomas.
And the computer is right. The computer divined this love. The computer discovered it. And the computer brought us together.
Yes. And now I believe it. I believe everything they say about the computer.
So do I.
The computer can create an absolutely perfect world.
Of course it can. And seemingly, it has brought together two people of similar temperament and taste. So why shouldn't this marriage be a most happy success? Why? Well, for one very good reason. We are only just past the first act. And besides, how can you have a Garden of Eden without a serpent? I'll be back with Act 2 shortly. Mr. Charles Darwin once said, and I quote, "I believe that man, in the distant future, will be a far more perfect creature than he is now." He said that at least 100 years ago, but not more. Therefore, to him, we would be the creatures of the future. I wouldn't say we're more perfect than the people in his time, and the folks in our story who are living, say, 1,000 years from now do not appear to be any more perfect than we are. Besides, what is perfection?
Are you happy, Emma?
Oh, yes.
I didn't know it was possible ever to be happy. It was something you were supposed to hope for, to strive for.
You're not even supposed to use the word.
Oh, I forgot.
Happy is something neurotic, dangerous. It can warp the personality. You know the word they want us to use.
Mm-hmm. Adjusted.
Adjusted.
When the one great scorer comes to write against your name, he marks not that you won or lost, but how you played the game.
Don't tell me. You know, I don't think I ever heard that one before.
Grantland Rice.
You really know your archaics.
No, he was a sports writer.
That's right. They used to have people who wrote about sports. Well, you're going back 1,000 years.
At least. What I wouldn't give to see a professional football game or a baseball.
That's all been outlawed.
I don't understand why.
I do. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. After all, there's an imbalance in a society where an athlete will be paid more than a research scientist.
Well, you've got to hand it to the computer. It picked out two kooks like us and brought us together. Do you think they just wanted to get us out of the way?
No. They brought us together to produce mathematicians.
Well, no one can say we're not trying.
A book of verses beneath the bough, a loaf of bread, a jug of wine, and thou. Do you know who wrote that?
I give up.
It was written by Omar, the tent maker.
Oh, how would you like to live in a tent?
Oh, all I would need is for someone to see it. I'd be packed in for readjustment.
Emma, when did I last tell you that I loved you?
About half an hour ago, I think. Are you beginning to take me for granted?
When the children come along...
Yes?
Are we going to do what everyone else does? Are we going to let them take the kids away from us? Well, will we?
They're not actually taking the children away.
No?
They're just putting them into the nursery.
That's not taking them away?
Well, they can take better care of them than we could.
Well, that's not the point. They're our kids.
They'll still be our kids. We'll visit them.
It's not the same. Wouldn't you really like to watch your kid while he grows up? Be the one to feed him and clothe him and teach him things? I mean, isn't that the natural way to do it?
There's just no way we could ever hope to do that.
Well, maybe we could figure something out.
Never.
We've got to.
Oh, look at us. Having an argument on how to raise a child that isn't even born yet. Would you like some music?
Exactly what I had in mind. To think. There was a time when people could listen to music like this in public.
I know.
Why? What have they got against this music? I mean, okay, the books. Maybe they could object to the ideas, but music?
Well, the way it was explained to me, music represents the spirit of an era. And in the music of the past is all the restlessness and the conflicts and the neuroses.
Well, I think everybody today is crazy. Except you and me.
Thomas.
Hello, Paul.
What are you doing here?
Well, I have to report to the district programmer.
Why?
I was told there was another computer readout.
Well, I don't see how it can be anything serious.
No, neither do I.
Well, tell me, how are things?
The word is perfection.
Well, now.
Absolute perfection.
Well, aren't you the one who said, I want the right to choose my own mate?
I have said a lot of stupid things in my life.
I hate to say I told you so.
No, say it. I deserve it. Only the computer can match people perfectly. Now I know what true happiness... I beg your pardon. What true adjustment is.
Well, you're finally growing up. I can just tell from now on, everything's going to be all right.
Please be seated.
Thank you.
As your district programmer, I have summoned you here at this time to inform you that you have just been divorced.
Divorced?
The legal documentation has already been stored.
Divorced? But no, I don't understand.
Under the circumstances, you are entitled to an explanation.
Oh, wait a minute.
There has been an error.
An error? The computer makes an error? How?
The computer never makes an error. A grade 7 technician made an error in transcription.
Well, he had no right to make an error.
He is being readjusted.
Readjusted? Well, just because he made a little mistake? I mean, that's a terrible thing to do to a person.
A therapeutic and necessary thing.
Look, talking about my divorce...
There is nothing to talk about. It has already been accomplished.
You can't do this to me and to Emma.
But we must. There has been a computer error.
It doesn't matter. You see, it all worked. Emma and I, why, we're supremely happy.
Happy?
I mean, we're in love.
Love?
We're in perfect symmetry.
You can't be.
Oh, please, believe me.
I can only believe what the computer tells me, and when the two of you are placed into it, you simply do not balance.
But we're in love. We get along very well.
It won't work.
It's working now.
It won't last.
How do you know?
The computer knows.
How?
The attraction between you is not based on qualities of durable nature. Besides, you will not produce mathematicians. Well, aren't you going to thank me?
Thank you. For what?
As a well-adjusted citizen, you should thank me for rectifying what could have been the crucial mistake of your life.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks a million. Emma.
Thomas, what are you doing here?
You know about it?
Yes.
What are we going to do?
There's nothing we can do.
Oh, yes, there is. We can appeal to the chief programmer.
Thomas, nobody ever wins those appeals.
There can always be a first time.
But besides, Thomas, if you lose, they put you through readjustment.
Are you scared?
Yes.
So am I.
Do you know what it does to you? It changes you completely. Everything that means so much to you, it just gets burned out.
Don't say that.
It amounts to the same thing. It gets blotted out, cut out. Does that sound any better? And you become just like everyone else around here. Even worse.
But if we're divorced, and if you marry this guy, whoever he is, with a number almost like mine, well, you know the type of person he has to be.
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
And living with him, you'll become just like everyone else anyhow.
No, I won't.
How could you help yourself?
Well, I'll still have my privacy, and I can listen to my tapes and read my books.
Will that be enough for you?
Well, it'll have to be.
No, it won't.
It always was.
It was for me, too. That was until I met you and lived with you. Once I've known what it is to live with you, I can't go back to the old way. And neither can you.
Well, Both of us, we'll just have to.
I'm going to appeal.
Please, Thomas.
But it won't do any good if you don't appeal with me.
But I'm scared, Thomas. I'm so frightened.
Emma, we have to do it.
How do you do?
Oh, who are you?
Well, I might ask you that question. However, I am Walter V278-664. I assume I'm in the presence of my newly married companion, Emma K998-727.
Oh.
She happens to be my married companion.
There would appear to be an error. I have here the certificate. Oh, yes, I was told about the minor mishap in readout.
A minor mishap? That's what you consider it?
What else?
I mean, you're suddenly informed that your marriage is canceled, and that's a minor mishap?
I believe you are becoming dangerously emotional.
No, I believe I have a right to.
No one ever has the right to become dangerously emotional, and especially over such a minor affair as this.
Minor?
What else is it? It's only marriage. You'll stay to dinner, I hope.
Stay to dinner?
Well, is there any reason why the three of us shouldn't be good friends?
Yes.
Really? I can't imagine why.
I happen to be in love with Emma.
Oh, that's a rather archaic concept, isn't it?
And she happens to be in love with me.
Really?
Are you in love with Emma?
Love? I'm not in love with anybody. Nor do I ever intend to be.
You would become a married companion of a woman you didn't love?
My dear chap, if I should ever become so unsymmetrical as to fall in love, I would take great pains to see to it that I never married her.
Oh, I disagree with that.
My goodness. You are a thoroughgoing, dyed-in-the-wool archaic. I heard there were fellows like you, but I never ran into any before. What do you say to a little music, huh? Well, it generally clears the air.
Thomas, you'd better go.
No, Emma,
Please.
I can't.
Thomas, why make it so hard for us? There's nothing we can do.
We'll appeal.
No, I'm afraid.
Ah, here we are. Isn't this absolutely fantastic? You know, Emma, I could listen to this day and night. Don't you just love it?
Thomas, don't go. Don't leave me. Yes, we will appeal. Right now. Now, let us appeal.
Music, it has been said, can soothe the savage breast. Taking the opposite tack, it can also inflame the civilized heart. And so, now we learn about another facet of this futuristic society. There is an appeal procedure. But is it like the situation that is all too familiar in our time, the one that's known as Fighting City Hall? This shall be clarified shortly in Act 3. Certain things never seem to change, and one of them is the triangle. Not the geometric triangle of Euclid, but the human triangle. 2 men and 1 woman, or 2 women and 1 man. The geometric triangles can always be neatly solved. That is because mathematics follows precise and rigid rules. Human triangles, on the other hand, defy analysis, resist definition, and evade solution.